So picture this. You're about to hand over hundreds of thousands of dollars for a new home, and you are relying entirely on one single person to tell you if it's actually safe. But what if that person has absolutely zero government oversight? Welcome to today's Explainer, where we are uncovering the critical, yet honestly, completely overlooked process of vetting your home inspector.
Get ready for a staggering reality check. Exactly 16 U.S. states have absolutely no statewide licensing requirements for home inspectors whatsoever. Let that sink in. That means in nearly a third of the entire country, practically anyone can print out a glossy business card, grab a flashlight, and legally call themselves a home inspector without any state-mandated training. Crazy, right?
We are essentially looking at a regulatory Wild West here, and the financial risk to you, the homebuyer, is massive. Think about it. If an uninsured, unauthorized inspector completely misses a major defect, like a failing 30-year-old roof, some seriously faulty electrical wiring, or a crumbling foundation, it can lead to outright financial ruin. You're left footing a giant repair bill simply because the person you hired wasn't legally bound to a standard of professional practice.
To help you navigate this, today we'll be covering the licensing landscape, license versus certification, steps to verify licenses, insurance and red flags, the verification toolkit, and finally, our final takeaways.
Section 1. The licensing landscape.
So as of 2026, roughly 34 states do regulate and license home inspectors at the state level, but the remaining 16, no statewide requirement at all. Because there isn't a national standard, the rules of the game are entirely dependent on exactly where the house you want to buy is located.
The contrast between regions is actually pretty wild. For example, Texas demands a heavy, tiered licensing system with mandatory education and field inspections. Florida requires exams and proof of insurance. But then you have major markets like California, where there are zero formal state licensing requirements. In those places, the burden of verification falls 100% on you.
Section 2. License versus certification.
Now, you might hear these terms used interchangeably, but they actually carry very different legal weights. A certification proves an inspector completed approved training from a private organization, like ASHI or INTERNACHI. It's a great thing to have, but it is not a legal authority. A license, on the other hand, is a legal authorization issued by a state government agency. In most regulated states, an inspector literally cannot charge you for an inspection without it.
And this is exactly why the distinction matters so much. In those regulated states, a certification from a trade organization carries no legal enforcement mechanism whatsoever. Only a state-issued license authorizes compensated inspection services. If things go wrong, a state board can actually discipline a licensed inspector, but they have absolutely no legal authority over someone who just holds a certification.
Okay, moving on to Section 3. Steps to verify licenses.
You really need to execute specific verification steps rather than just relying on a slick business card or a verbal promise. Because let's be honest, those can be easily fabricated. It starts with getting their full legal name and license number, then heading straight to the source, the official state regulatory portal. And most importantly, you have to verify that their license status is active. When you actually query those state databases, whether you're in Texas using the TREC portal or Florida using the DBPR, you are looking for one specific word: active. If you see anything like delinquent, expired, or null and void, that inspector is not currently authorized to practice. Period. Regardless of what their website might claim.
Section 4. Insurance and red flags.
Because an active license is kind of useless if they don't have the financial backing to cover a mistake, let's talk about errors and omissions, or E&O insurance. This is what protects you if the inspector misses a major issue. We're talking a cracked foundation or maybe faulty electrical wiring. If they make a professional mistake, E&O insurance ensures you can actually recover damages instead of facing that financial ruin all by yourself.
In contrast to that, general liability insurance covers physical damage that happens during the actual inspection itself. So, if your inspector accidentally missteps and puts their foot right through your attic ceiling, or breaks a water pipe while testing a valve, well, this policy is what covers those immediate repair costs.
You've definitely got to watch out for a few glaring warning signs. If an inspector hesitates even a little bit to show you their license or their certificate of insurance, just walk away. Similarly, if they aren't popping up in the state database or their fees are suspiciously low, they might be cutting corners on their insurance premiums. And that is a risk you simply cannot take with your future home.
Section 5. The verification toolkit. Using a strict checklist ensures you're making major decisions based on verified data, not just assumptions. Here's a massive tip for you. Always ask for that certificate of insurance to be sent directly from their broker, not the inspector. Why? Because it completely prevents you from receiving some old or doctored-up PDF. Being methodical like this significantly mitigates your vulnerability during the transaction.
Now, if you happen to be buying an older home, specifically anything 30 years or older, there's an extra layer to think about. In a lot of regions, like Florida for example, you'll actually need a specific 4-point inspection just to get your own homeowner's insurance. Verifying early on that your inspector is fully qualified to evaluate the roof, electrical, plumbing, and HVAC systems for these strict underwriting rules is absolutely essential.
And finally, Section 6, Final Takeaways.
So, to wrap this all up, remember that licensing laws are a complete patchwork across the country. Never let a certified badge confuse you if a legal state license is what's actually required. Always double-check that active status and confirm their insurance limits. Doing this thorough vetting up front is exactly what prevents those devastating 5-figure surprises after you move in.
Just a quick disclaimer before we finish up. The content of this explainer is for informational purposes only and definitely does not constitute legal advice. You should always consult with your real estate attorney or coordinator for personalized advice regarding your specific transaction. Laws change, and a professional can help you navigate the nuances of your local market.
I'll leave you with this thought. You wouldn't buy a home without looking inside first, right? So why would you ever hire an inspector without looking into their background? Empower yourself with the right knowledge to protect your greatest investment. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer. Now go out there and verify those credentials.